Welcome everybody, François Le Tarte for my role-playing game channel, and I did want to ramble about a movie I saw recently about a subject that I love. This is Les Trois Mousquetaires, Three Musketeers, a French movie that just came out, and it's part apparently of a trilogy. And I really enjoyed this movie, but usually I'm I'm already a good audience for Musketeer movies. I saw a lot of them, not all of them. No, I think I didn't saw. No, I didn't saw it. The one with Mila Jovovich as Milady, and I didn't saw the. There was a BBC series. I just don't have access for that. Maybe it's on Netflix. I'm not on Netflix, and every other streaming service that I'm subscribed to don't have this, so I think I'll have to wait. But nevertheless, I did saw every Musketeer movies, not the older one from the 50s and the 40s, but I really enjoyed the Richard Lester one in the 70s, where Milady was played by Faye Dunaway. It's one of my favorite movies. That mood, okay, that swashbuckling mood. And I've read the novel 3 times, okay? It's one of my favorite novels of all time, The Three Musketeers. So I'm already into it. So every time there's something Musketeer coming out, I'm happy. And this movie, I really loved it. Okay, it's really good. It's really, really good. I don't know. In English, probably you probably have a subtitled version of somehow. I don't know how it will come out for you, but I do recommend that movie. It's very well made. The casting is incredible. Okay, Milady is played by Eva Green, so I think it's a win here. All the Musketeers, I don't remember the name of the actors, but man, they are a badass team. Okay. D'Artagnan, the young Gascon, hot-blooded Musketeer, who at one point he gets a bullet in him and he survives, and he just go to Constance to patch him up. Aramis, the one who wants to be a priest. Well, he's not on the right path in this movie. He's really it's a sadic character. He's doing dirty stuff to his opponents. Porthos, who loves lives a lot, okay, so he do love life way more than in the novel. And Athos, which is a mystery as ever, and a dark, brooding character. He's intense, okay? It's a very intense character. So it was great. The King and the Queen, I think it's the best casting of the King Louis and Queen Anne. I think it's the best casting I ever saw. Just physically, they look like a lot. They look like a lot what we see on paintings about those characters. But their personality, I've read a little bit about history and what was those person, okay? Who were they, okay? And what kind of person they were. And I was pleased to see that there are details in that movie that wasn't there before in any other movies. When there was the King and the Queen, they were kind of, okay, we're the King and the Queen, and that's pretty much what they were. They were acting as such, and that stopped there. There they have put the human side of them. Okay, especially the King and the Queen were in private very shy persons, and I think they really showed it into that movie. And also, when the King needs to be the King, he becomes the King. When the Queen needs to be the Queen, she becomes the Queen. And the King, as some. It was said that in his storybook that he had some speech problems, and he kind of acted very well. It was very believable. The fights, man. Oh yeah, I would before going to the fight, I think my deception here the one I was expecting more was Cardinal of Richelieu. He was a little faded in the background, but at the same time, it's a trilogy, okay? And Cardinal of Richelieu wants to take control of France. He wants to manipulate from the back. So maybe it was thought like that, okay? That he's there, though he's doing stuff, but he does not take the place like, let's say, the Tim Curry Cardinal of Richelieu, okay? He's not a flamboyant cardinal. He's a more strategic and silent one in the background. Probably we'll see more of him. I expect to see more of him in the movies that are coming out soon. I think it's in December, the next one. So the fights, you know, this is not swashbuckling light fights and swing on chandelier type of fight. This is dirty fighting, dirty 17th century fighting. You can see the musketeers and all the fighters exchanging, you know, sword passes, like, you know, they went in school for that. But it ends up being very dirty as a fight. You know, there are dirty tricks being made, musket shot in the face, okay? That's the kind of fight, very dirty, okay? And yeah, what else about this movie? I don't want to spoil anything, but well, most of the story you already know. Something that was very clever, I think, was to find a way to get more tight with the plot. Okay, taking stuff that we know from the Musketeers and finding elements just to tighten the plot a little bit. For example, the classic scene where D'Artagnan is kind of pushing around the Three Musketeers while running after a bad guy, and all of the Three Musketeers are introduced to D'Artagnan like that, and they want him into a duel, and they kind of choose different hours. So you probably know the story. So it's in that movie. And then D'Artagnan comes to the first fight. I don't remember. I think it's Athos, and the two other musketeers are there to be witnesses, and they realize, oh, it's the same guy we want to fight, and there are, you know, exchanges and jokes about that, and you know the rest. Cardinal Guards arrives. The Three Musketeers says, well, there are 7, we are only 3 to fight them, and they are calculating, and then D'Artagnan says, no, you are 4, and then they fight the 7 Cardinal Guards. It's in that movie, but they have added something. There were not only 7 Cardinal Guards. They were 7 when they arrived, but then suddenly they were surrounded by maybe 20 other Cardinal Guards pointing at them muskets. Okay, so in the novel, that scene is just some sort of an anecdote, putting the table on the rivalry between Cardinal Guards and Musketeers, okay? That's pretty much that. It's not very tied into the plot itself. Of course, it pisses off the Cardinal and the King, so it have consequences maybe later in the novel, indirectly. But in the movie, they kind of tied it. Probably it was commanded by the Cardinal or someone else. Do kill those musketeers. They kind of tied into it. So this is one example of different scenes that are taken from the novel, and I have to admit that many of the scenes are very faithful to the novel, though they have mixed it up. They probably changed some of the characters or the order of events, and they added some scenes that are not in the novels just to tighten the plot. So everything is tied together. There are some elements in the movie that are absent from the original novel, like Constance Bonacieux is not a married woman into the movie. She's looked like a pretty single woman. So, and while in the novel she's married to an old man. So. And her name, Bonacieux, is the name of her husband. Okay, so it's not in there, probably to probably to ease out the plot. They probably they want to have the focus in something else. So having D'Artagnan having an affair with a married woman probably would have just, you know, made a subplot that wouldn't have brought something, I guess. And the Musketeers apparently don't have their lackeys. Okay, they are not there, the lackeys. Planchet, where's Planchet? I don't remember the name of the others, but in the novels they're very important. They have their own personality and their own, they bring their own thing into the plot. But they're not there probably just to make the movie a little lighter than it's all. Well, it's not a light movie, okay? This is a very heavy movie with the plot. But yeah, they're not there, but it doesn't bother what we see. It's just, I've noticed that. But now, this is a role-playing channel. And one of my top 5 role-playing game, if it's not on the first place spot, favorite role-playing game is All for One Régime Diabolique. We made a couple of games of that. I saw the dynamic of All for One Régime Diabolique. Okay, even though the game can enable you to do some light swashbuckling things if you have enough style points to do them, basically the game is a dirty game, dirty fighting game. And when I saw the Three Musketeers movie, I exactly saw what I had into the role-playing games. The kind of fight, dirty fight. And I could easily see the numbers rolling before my eyes while watching the movie. Say, okay, feeling that a fight like this could be made with that game system, Ubiquity. So I was very pleased to see that. Okay, I was, it was very inspiring to see that. In fact, he wanted me to play some more. It will happen at some point, but nevertheless, that movie really reflected that dirty swashbuckling mood. If that movie was added with some supernatural and magic, okay, sorcery, stuff like that, well, it would have been an All for One Régime Diabolique movie, really. It would have been that the mood and everything in there would have fitted well. And also, I saw some of the stuff. Okay, just take the example I have in my mind, and I can really see how it will play out in the role-playing game. Let's say the Queen. At some point, the Three Musketeers are rescuing the Queen from an ambush. Okay, if you see the movie, you'll understand. But nevertheless, the example is quite clear. So when they rescue the Queen, they're rescuing a woman in need, a human. Okay. That woman, when she was rescued, she was out of her. She wasn't the Queen from that moment. She was a human, helpless human being just being saved. And she was facing her saviors, showing weakness. Okay? In All for One Régime Diabolique, basically when you create a character, they 6 basic stats, you're basically a human being. Okay, someone who is not a superhero. What would make you better would be some benefits. I don't remember how it's called, but you can kind of cite benefits like ranks into let's say you are a lieutenant, okay, or the military rank, okay, or you've been in a school, a fencing school, or stuff like that. And over that, you have some talents that will give you some bonuses, and of course, the skill list. That's where we'll see what you're good at. But if you only take your basic stats, you are a human being, and you are a weak human being in face of danger and adversity. And in that scene, the Queen was, okay, a weak person, right? So her charisma, okay, was the one of a human being. Okay, she was just a human being into a flamboyant robe. But then she kind of take on herself and look at their musketeer, and then she comes back the queen. She got you know, she kind of dig into herself, probably convincing herself, hey, I'm the queen. And then she comes back the queen, looking at her musketeers and being over them as, you know, I'm your queen. And then she talks to them, and, you know, they obey because they want to protect her queen. Okay. She has a social rank in All for One, and probably being the queen of France gives you a bonus of +10, something like that. And +10 is kind of astronomical. Okay, so she might have, you know, the charisma, maybe 2 points of charisma, let's say. Okay, the charisma of a shy woman, like I've described. She was a shy person, but had that when she used her social rank, her charisma might rise up to 12, which is astronomical. It's a world-class kind of charisma, and that's where I can see All for One Régime Diabolique go into that. Okay, when she needs to be the queen, she can use one of her benefits that works in that context, because if she was to be captured, let's say she goes to the New World, okay, to New France, well, in Quebec, and she's captured by Iroquois, okay, who wants to offer her to some English merchant. Well, her queen status might not work there, okay? She might be the only 2 points charisma, please don't do any harm to me person. While in France, well, she has the power. And in All for One Régime Diabolique, there's a really a way to emulate that. And I saw it in the movie, and it has pleased me a lot. I was very happy to see that. Yeah. So I could really see that movie being played in All for One Régime Diabolique. Okay? It might not be the greatest movie of all time, but this is a pretty good Musketeer movie, I can tell you. And I'm really looking forward for the sequel. That first part was called D'Artagnan. The second part will be called Milady. Just a side note here, they took a lot from the novels, but I feel that they kind of took in many other plots that I think that it's not in the novel as it is. For example, Milady, well, no, I don't want to spoil something, but I feel that there's something that she does that from memory, I only saw it in the Disney version, the one with Charlie Sheen and Kiefer Sutherland, okay? And Tim Curry as the Cardinal. So, and she does something into that movie, and I think I saw it. I think it was the same. It was taken back into that version of the movie. I might not remember every details from the novels, but maybe it was in the novel, by the way. But maybe I should read it back. I should read it again. It's one of my favorites, so I'll probably read it again in my life, at least once, maybe twice, maybe more. Okay, but yeah, it was a very good movie. If you want to see a dirty swashbuckling movie, well, I do consider finding a copy of that subtitled and just take a seat and watch it. So it was me, François Letarte, for my role-playing channel, and up to next time, I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.